Hey, what is going on guys? Pagani Gaming here and welcome back to another wheel-to-wheel racing video. It's back for round 11 and we are in the Group 4 Lamborghini for the first time out here. We are at Tokyo Expressway going counterclockwise, and to start off our qualifying lap, which was a one-lap shootout, we started off with a magnificent start, making love to the outside wall before we start our lap. And that pretty much ruined our momentum down the straight, having front end damage and front right wheel damage did really ruin our chances of a somewhat decent qualifying result. But we tried to see what we can make do of a really poor start. So we tried to capitalize using that speed coming out of the last corner by coming to the first corner a little bit later on the brakes, trying to close that gap. That damage does wear off after 30 seconds of contact. So braking for what is essentially turn 3 just before the 100 board and hitting both those apexes, feathering the gas through these three right-handers, a very technical part of the track, and then getting all over that curb on that left, running the car out wide, getting the power as soon as possible. The GR4 Lambo is the only all-wheel drive car in the class, so it's got plenty of grip and you can get the power down, but what also does mean is that it does wear its tyres pretty quick. So here for the quali lap, I had the brake bias 5 to the front, so all the way to the front, but in the race you'll see me, I'll switch it over 5 to the rear, the complete opposite setup for the race, just to help that tyre wear. Coming through the bridge, taking the absolute tightest line possible, getting as close to the walls, hugging the car to the right, just to make sure you cover the least amount of distance. Braking just before that column where the 100 sign is, deep on the brakes, aiming for that apex does help the car pull up. Again, running the car out wide on exit to get on the power as soon as possible. Trying to limit the damage once again. We can see Baker Boy behind us in the Ferrari, who was making big gains on us, crossing the last sector for a 139. Really off the pace. We knew we could set a 205 in the Lambo in quali trim. Feathering through the gas, another part that needs to be quite technical. Braking at the 50, getting the apex, and getting on the gas, and we knew we were up for a really poor run. So coming across the line here and setting a 207.182, and very quickly we dropped to the back row. So an awesome start to our race 1. On to race 1 now, and it was a 5-lap sprint with soft tyres being the only tyre available. And starting on the back row, we're temporarily dropped down into 12th, last position, as the Alpha is pretty good off the line. The Lamborghini does bog down a little bit, especially with the soft tyre, but we knew we had to play really aggressive, so we send it up onto the inside of Dodgy into turn 1, and we're going 3 wide, pack up behind ZD. We knew the McLaren was the fastest car in a straight line coming to the next corner. We try to get behind him and see if we can move ourselves up a little bit more. We're up into P9 now, so we've already made 2 positions off the starting position and then 3 from the back of the row. We knew we had to send it, so ZD very cheekily moving on the braking, not a very good move, but we still managed to get the move somewhat done, riding all over that curb. We now moved up into 5th as Lucky, who very stupidly decided to redress an incident that happened a little bit further up of me and ZD, right in the middle of the track with a pack of drivers right behind him. So that really did help us in some regard, but again, quite a stupid move on Lucky's end to park the car in the middle of a track with a very tight group right up behind you. That really did affect a lot of other drivers, but we came out pretty unscathed from that. So we moved ourselves up into P5. So some big moves to start our first lap here. We knew the Lamborghini had an awesome top speed advantage in the Group 4 category, so we knew we could really capitalize down here into this hairpin turn. So we try and go for at least close the gap there. ZD running a little bit deep on the brakes there and getting slightly swallowed up there. He's going to make himself really occupied with Packer, but we close the gap to Troy here, right up behind him. Now braking at the 50, a little bit before it, just in case we bump Troy, but feathering the gas through the left and then the right, getting as close to the wall as possible. It really does help. If you do hit that inside wall, it really does bump you up and spit you out. So coming to the end of lap 1, we've moved from 12th to 5th, so we've gone up 7 positions. So really great start. We were just trying to hope for a top 5 here. Really cool if we get a podium. We knew first place was well without a reach. Baker Boy in the Ferrari, absolute machine this round, and we're just completely untouchable, to be honest, especially in this race. So, coming down the third corner, second time of asking, right up behind Troy, and then our teammate Ythrolik in the Corvette, giving Troy a bit of a bump, and we go, again, a similar move that we did to Seedy, just really narrow on that approach, and then Troy does seem to turn in on us for some weird reason. I'm not really sure why that was the case. It's like as if I wasn't even there at all, but we were already well and truly up alongside to some regard, and for some reason Troy just started turning on us like we weren't even there. Coming through again a lap later, getting a really nice exit here on our MCDC in a Supra, and you're going to see the advantage of having a really good run with a tow in the Group 4 Lambo. So we're currently trailing the Supra, and the Supra is no slouch as well. The Supra is a very quick car in a straight line. And you can look at the gap. We've absolutely taken time out of MCDC here, and we're well and truly up here for a good move into the braking zone. So we look at what opportunities we have, and we send it absolutely down into the hairpin, and see if we can get at least alongside. So a little bit late on the brakes there. We're still leaving him that car's width out in the open. But unfortunately, he did kind of touch the wall there on the exit, even though we did leave him a bit of a car's width of space. So we promoted ourselves up into P2. And nothing much more happened after that. We had a really close call here with MCDC and ZD. If you look up in the rear view camera, you'll see that ZD and MCDC were really tussling for position here down the back straight, trying to get a really good run. And we're here minding our business. We can kind of see that they're there. We can see that the gap's somewhat closing a little bit, and we're kind of anticipating something that might go wrong here. And we can see there, CD misses braking marker, MCDC misses braking marker, and by some miracle, we did get contact with MCDC, but we didn't get taken out completely. So there is damage on our car. You can see there the rear bumper is flashing red. But yeah, by some miracle, I think maybe it lagged, maybe for the first time actually ever helped us out there, but we didn't get taken out. So we ended up crossing the line there shortly after, crossing the line in P2, so an awesome recovery drive on our end. On to race 2 now, and the grid was set based off the reverse results from race 1. So we probably finished second. Once again, we're starting from 11th on the grid. And fortunately for us, we don't get swallowed up into P12. We've got Baker Boy behind us, and we're trying to signal to him. We want to kind of work together. We knew us two, we were very strong drivers. We had some really good pace, and similarity-wise between the cars and the driver, we were pretty much toe for toe, except he was slightly quicker. So we knew that by having him behind us and working together, like, you know, bump drafting and whatever, we could really close the gap to the leading pack. So we're trying to keep him behind us and try and signal to him that we can work as a team to close the gap up ahead. So coming into turn 3, Packer gets bumped a little bit wide. We start making moves once again. Taking that inside line really does help there if you avoid all the hassle. So we've already moved ourselves up into P8 behind Baggins, who's also running the Merc. And once again, trying to just familiarise ourselves with the cars around us and try and set ourselves up for a really nice move here. So Baggins in the AMG is not a strong car on the straight. It does need a tow to get it moving, even though it's got a big 6.2 litre V8. The bob, the balance and performance does really kill it. So top gear in the Lamborghini is 7th, but we don't use it around here. 6th is where the Lamborghini really stretches its legs compared to the rest of the grid. So we make a move there on Baggins, who unfortunately got made a little bit of contact with the barrier. ZD does pit for his first pit stop. The strategy for race 2 was all 3 tyres, mandatory soft tire, soft, medium, and hards. And go another move here, similar to Baggins. Troy just washing himself out, and we did give him the room, and unfortunately he didn't take it, so he ended up washing himself out wide. So we started on the medium tyre. we knew we had to run the medium tyre for as long as we possibly could, probably around lap 12, lap 13, depending on how much wear we had with the traffic in front of us. And then come into a soft tyre and then do that last third of the lap on the hard tyre as the pit stop is about about a quarter of the way back before the finish line. So we could kind of cheese our way out and just do a quarter lap on the hard tyre, and it would still count against the regulations. A lap later, getting cornered with a little bit of a tussle here between Palmer and Uthrolik. Palmer's really fighting for that toe. Uthrolik is leaving the door open for us, and we give him a bit of a bump just to try and get out of the mess. But unfortunately for me, I kind of did shut the door down on Palmer just a little bit and kind of shook myself out wide. And then that opened the door up for Troy, who we're also going to go side by side with. And unlike him, he doesn't leave me that little bit of space up on the inside. Apparently hitting apexes for him is not in his books when it comes to racing. So he does palm us off a little bit wide. And we do drop 2 positions because of that and losing ourselves a little bit of time. So we're settled for 7th here behind Packer. And a little bit further on, just about 20 seconds further on, this is where all hell broke loose. Getting ourselves caught up in a little bit of a mischief here between myself, Troy, and our teammate Uthrolik. And we were pretty frustrated about this, but looking back at the replay, we really couldn't be, as the person who, in my opinion, caused it was our own teammate. So what essentially had happened is, with myself being in 7th, Packer up ahead in 6th, Troy in 5th, and Uthrolik in 4th. Palmer was ahead of him in 3rd, I believe. I can't remember the positions, but I know it was in that order specifically of drivers. Uthrolik, for some weird reason, decided to brake 60 meters earlier than you really should, and that caught all the drivers between him and myself out. And unfortunately for me, I was an innocent victim that did get kind of stuffed over by that one. So he lost a good 12 seconds there to the race leader, and we were really hoping to get some decent results there, but unfortunately we're kind of under damage limitation after that one. Pitting at the end of lap 13 for the soft tyre, and we were chasing down Baggins, but unfortunately for both of us, we ended up getting penalties. He got a 1 second penalty, I got a 1.5 second penalty, so that kind of ruined our chances of at least getting a move done on him, and that made us all really vulnerable down here on the straight. Even though it's a 1.5 second penalty, you're really kind of losing 30 seconds because it's on the straight where the cars behind you have already caught up a little bit of speed. I had a bit of a brain fade moment there coming back on the racing line, not anticipating Uthrolik to still be there. I was kind of hoping he would give me a bit of a bump to boost me up into lucky, but I had to quickly duck out of that one and not cause this between us two. So we move ourselves back up into 6th temporarily as Baggins and Lucky start battling, and that really does open the door for us. As we follow Lucky through, we're going to take that position off Baggins, and we're going to try and make as many positions as possible here with Lucky in front of us. He's currently our Div 2 contender, and me and him are in a very close battle right now for the Div 2 championship. So we see here the Volkswagen, a pretty good car as well, not friendly on his tyres whatsoever. The rear tyres are new, but because it's a front-wheel drive car, it absolutely does chew through his front tyres. And you'll see here once again, once we're in 6th gear here in the Lambo, it just absolutely reins in everything. As a matter of fact, I actually had to go up into 7th just to make sure I wouldn't hit the rev limiter. So we're well and truly right in front of Lucky before the breakdown even happens. And we're going to try and open the door up here for Uthrolik. And he does read that message pretty well as he gets well up into the Uthrolik. So what we wanted to try and do was have Uthrolik get in the way of Lucky a little bit, be a bit of a team player and help us out there. But we come in at the end of the final lap to ditch those soft tyres and do a quick hard tyre stint. As I mentioned before, because the pit box is before the finish line, you can get away with doing a hard tyre run. But unfortunately for us, we ended up only finishing in P8. It's a bit of a damage limitation there, but we couldn't do too much more than that after what had happened early on in the race. Onto the Div 2 leaderboards now, and we've closed the gap ever so slightly between myself and Lucky. But to be honest, we could have closed the gap a little bit more, but we did get it screwed over a little bit in race 2. Onto the team championships now, and we are still sitting in 5th position, roughly where we were before in terms of the gap to first. But next round we are at the Group 3 in the Grand Valley Highway 1. A track that I don't think the Lamborghini would do too well at. There's a lot of twisty corners, a lot of technical ones, 19 corners to be in fact, and I don't think the Lamborghini is going to do too well there. But anyways guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I shall catch you guys in the next one.